Over the past decade, the frequency of wildfires in California has increased by approximately 60%, and their intensity has surged dramatically, with the annual area burned more than doubling from an average of 300,000 acres in the 1990s to over 1 million acres in recent years. This alarming trend is largely driven by climate change, prolonged droughts, and higher temperatures, which have created the perfect conditions for devastating wildfires. California wildfires are becoming increasingly severe in both frequency and intensity, transforming into a year-round crisis rather than a seasonal occurrence. This alarming trend is driven by a combination of natural and human-made factors that exacerbate the risk and impact of these catastrophic events. Over the past 2 decades, the number of large wildfires in California has surged by 60%, with the most destructive fires occurring in just the last 5 years. Fires now consume an average of 1.2 million acres annually, compared to 300,000 acres in the 1990s, a 4-fold increase. In 2020 alone, California experienced 5 of its 6 largest wildfires in recorded history, displacing thousands of people and destroying entire communities. Thousands of Californians are displaced annually, with wildfires destroying homes, infrastructure, and livelihoods. Health impacts include widespread smoke inhalation, which increases rates of respiratory illnesses and premature deaths. To address this growing threat, California must adopt aggressive climate policies, invest in fire-resistant infrastructure, and expand forest management strategies like prescribed burns. Without immediate action, the state will continue to face increasingly destructive and uncontrollable wildfires. These fires are a stark reminder of the urgent need to tackle climate change and adapt to its growing challenges. California's wildfires are among the most destructive in the world, creating challenges that ripple across the environment, economy, and public safety. Wildfires consume vast areas of forest, destroying habitats for countless species and threatening biodiversity. Recovery can take decades or longer, and some ecosystems may never fully rebound. Air quality degradation. Massive wildfires release billions of tons of carbon dioxide and pollutants, worsening climate change and causing smog that travels across regions. Fine particulate matter from wildfire smoke poses severe health risks, including respiratory and cardiovascular illnesses. Burned landscapes lose vegetation, increasing soil erosion and sediment runoff into rivers and reservoirs. This affects water quality and reduces storage capacity in vital water infrastructure. Wildfires have caused billions of dollars in damages annually, including the destruction of homes, businesses, and infrastructure. For example, the 2018 Camp Fire alone caused over $16.5 billion in damages. Suppression and recovery expenses. Firefighting efforts are increasingly expensive, with California spending over $4 billion annually on suppression and emergency response. Recovery efforts, including rebuilding and providing aid to affected communities, add to these costs. Impact on industries, agriculture, tourism, and forestry industries face significant losses due to disrupted operations and damaged resources. Power outages caused by preemptive shutoffs to prevent fires further strain businesses, threats to public safety. The intensity and frequency of wildfires, especially in regions like California, have increased dramatically in recent years. A combination of natural and human-made factors amplifies the scale and severity of these fires. Here's an in-depth look at the main contributors. Climate change rising, temperatures, global warming has caused average temperatures to rise, with California experiencing an increase of 2 degrees Fahrenheit over the last century. Higher temperatures dry out vegetation, creating an abundance of flammable material. Extended fire seasons. What was once a seasonal issue is now a year-round crisis. Warmer springs and delayed winters extend the period during which fires can ignite and spread. Extreme weather events, heat waves, more frequent due to climate change, increase the likelihood of ignition. Drier conditions combined with strong winds create the perfect conditions for rapid fire spread. Drought conditions, prolonged droughts, persistent droughts deplete soil moisture and weaken vegetation, making forests and grasslands more susceptible to ignition. Dead trees and dried-out plants act as tinder for wildfires. Reduced water availability. Lower water levels in rivers and reservoirs hinder firefighting efforts as resources for suppression become scarce. Forest management practices. Decades of fire suppression. Historically, many regions prioritized extinguishing fires immediately, preventing smaller natural burns that clear underbrush and reduce fuel loads. As a result, forests are now overgrown, with dense vegetation acting as kindling for larger fires. Limited prescribed burns. Controlled burns are a key method to manage fuel loads, but regulatory restrictions, funding limitations, and public opposition have hindered their implementation. Urban encroachment, expansion into wildland areas, increases human activities that spark fires, such as electrical malfunctions, campfires, and discarded cigarettes. Wind patterns and weather dynamics. Strong winds. Seasonal winds, such as California's Santa Ana winds, can spread fires at speeds of up to 60 miles per hour, making containment nearly impossible. These winds dry out vegetation further, exacerbating conditions. Lightning strikes, thunderstorms, particularly in dry seasons, are a common natural ignition source, especially in remote areas. Increased human activity, ignition sources. 85% of wildfires in the United States are caused by human activities such as unattended campfires, power line malfunctions, and arson. As more people move into fire-prone areas, the risk of accidental ignitions rises. Infrastructure and development. Expanding communities near wildlands increase the likelihood of fires and amplify their impact on human lives and property. The 2020 California wildfire season stands out as a stark example of the escalating wildfire crisis, showcasing the devastating effects on communities and ecosystems. It was the worst wildfire season in California's history, with over 4.2 million acres burned, an area larger than Connecticut. The devastation unprecedented scale. The fires destroyed over 10,000 structures, displacing thousands of families and leaving many homeless. Entire towns, such as Berry Creek, were wiped out in the North Complex fire, which alone claimed 16 lives. Record-breaking fires. The August Complex fire became the largest in California's history, burning over 1 million acres and being labeled a gigafire. 5 of the state's 6 largest wildfires occurred in 2020, underscoring the crisis. Human and environmental costs. The fires caused 33 confirmed deaths, with countless others suffering from health issues due to smoke inhalation. Wildlife habitats were decimated, with species struggling to survive as ecosystems were drastically altered, exacerbating factors climate change. The 2020 season was marked by record-breaking heat waves and prolonged drought, creating tinderbox conditions. Lightning siege. In August, over 14,000 lightning strikes sparked hundreds of fires in just a few days, overwhelming firefighting efforts. Wind-driven spread. High winds rapidly spread flames, making containment nearly impossible in some areas. A warning for the future. The 2020 wildfire season serves as a harsh wake-up call about the growing severity of wildfires due to climate change and human activity. It highlighted the urgent need for improved forest management practices, including prescribed burns. Stronger infrastructure to protect communities in high-risk areas. Global climate action to address the root causes of worsening fire seasons. This event underscores the fragility of both natural and human systems in the face of an escalating wildfire crisis. Worsening wildfire crisis. Wildfires are becoming more frequent, intense, and destructive, especially in regions like California. The combination of climate change, drought conditions, and historical forest management practices has created a perfect storm for devastating fires, environmental and human impact. Wildfires destroy ecosystems, emit massive amounts of carbon dioxide, and worsen air quality, posing severe health risks. They displace thousands of people, destroy homes, and cost billions of dollars in damage and recovery efforts. Recent catastrophic events. Events like the 2020 California wildfire season highlight the escalating crisis, with record-breaking fires causing unprecedented damage to communities and the environment. Contributing factors: rising temperatures, prolonged droughts, and strong winds exacerbate fire conditions. Human activity such as urban expansion and accidental ignitions further fuels the crisis. The path forward. Urgent action is needed to mitigate the wildfire crisis through improved forest management, sustainable urban planning, and global climate action. Greater public awareness and community preparedness can also reduce the risk and impact of wildfires, reinforcing the urgency. Wildfires are no longer just a seasonal occurrence, they are a year-round threat with dire implications for the environment, public health, and economies. Addressing this issue requires immediate, coordinated efforts to prevent further devastation and ensure a sustainable future for both people and the planet.